the camera. Lights, camera, action. What's going on, guys? Good evening. How's everybody doing? You gonna have to quit. I know. I got a cat in the background. I'm sorry. All right. Let's look at the chart from today. What's up, Dusty? Just want to go back. Yes. I might have to take this cat out, probably. Sorry. One second. You can't go out right now. It's snowing. It's too cold. I know. All right. What's going on, guys? Sorry. I wanted to go back to this morning I was giving you resistance at 605.50 was my number. That was at about 9 o'clock a.m. this morning. And I said I'd be interested in calls possibly over 605.50 area if we can get momentum to start pushing. Okay. What's up, Justin, Brent, Victor, Dusty? Thanks, guys, for everybody for tuning in, watching, hanging out with me. Try to keep it short and sweet. Here was my number. And you could have played this off the strategy also that we were teaching, but here was one problem with this morning that made me hesitate a little. Hey, good deal, Victor. I'm glad it panned out, man. I'm glad to hear that. It could have went either way with that data that came out. It was waiting on the data. So if we go the 10-minute, let's go. I'm sorry. We go the 5 minutes. How we start the day. We had a good ramp up off the data right at 8:30. You see, a big candle. So it started giving momentum off of data. And I had 605. Let's check this out, guys. So you start putting this in your mind. The daily low and the daily high that gets set, like from the previous day and even back a day or two, depending on what kind of volume we had, it makes a difference when you go into these moves like we've been getting, where we were at the top, and the only place we had to go was to create more new highs or get a pullback to continue our new highs. We had to do one or the other, and we were getting rejected pretty hard up here at 608. We did get 609 one morning, but it just would not push over it. Okay. And if you remember, we were going to the daily. We were looking at RSI. Remember, we snapped this line. because over 70 is considered overbought. Under 30 is considered oversold. So we've been in that. We were approaching 70. And remember, we snapped this line up here a few days ago, and we bumped on it 2 times, basically, and didn't push through it. So it was screaming pullback. Now, when we started pulling back, let's go back and look at the days. Okay. This first day, we got a little downturn and then a lot of chop. And we made a low. Let's make us a new low right here. And we're going to make it red. So just something to hang on to. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. Nice, Jay. I hear you, man. So we went to the top up here. Obviously we're gonna mark a line there. I need to change that. Make it kind of green and make it a big boy, because that's what we got to get over. Okay. Now we came down here and we made a low of the day back here. I'll put a mark on it because it's the low of the day. It makes sense, right? Now here comes the next day. Let's go to 5 minutes. You're going to watch this and see it's kind of fundamental. When we took 20 after 10 that morning, we started breaking previous day lows. See? That was an indicator to tell you we're going to make another step down. Okay? I don't know anything about the Yahoo Finance charting tool, Gene. Sorry. I wish I could help. But we were making, when you're making new lows or making new highs, you need to go to the day before and mark that day. This wasn't a bad spot also, because we come down here and popped, but then we continued off. So I made another line down here. I think this is why I had over 605.50 comes into play here in a minute. Yeah, because 605.50 was the high on this day. And look here what we did. 12:10, which was yesterday. Okay, we chopped. It took us a long time, but at 2:00 that day, we started breaking the previous day lows. So it's telling you, it's without looking at anything else, we're making lows lower than the day before. We're going down. And then I went ahead and marked that low. 602.14. So 602 was my support today. If CPI hadn't came in good and the market reacted, then we would be telling a different story. We would be saying, look, we broke 602 and we started making new lows heading towards 600. But we didn't do that today. You mark the top of the wick or the body. Oftentimes, if it's a big wick, I'll catch that wick also. But if there's a bunch of, like right here, see these candles, how I wanted, even though it was the bottom of this wick, I kind of caught all these candles where they lined up. And then you got a little pop off of this green candle at the end of the day yesterday. Okay. So we had a low, we had a high. It's pretty safe to bet, instead of trying to trade in the middle of the day all day sometimes. Sometimes it's good to be patient and wait. Maybe you got to wait a day, maybe you got to wait 2 days for it to start making new highs or new lows from the previous lows before. It's a good indicator that you're going that way, okay? So that's why my number, because yesterday's highs, 605.50, I did not mark this wick. And this was also the top of structure yesterday. You know how we mark our structure in the morning? The top of the first 3 candles, the bottom of the first 3 candles. Well, see how that came back into play? So 605.50. There was a fella asking me in the chat, Stu, I think, about marking levels. So this is a good way to mark your levels, okay? This is one good way. There's plenty of ways, but this is one good way. You want to catch your highs and the lows of the day before, because if you're trying to just trade breakouts, which is usually a little safer, then you're waiting on those lows or highs to get broke. Now, sometimes you got intraday lows, like right in here. It kept hanging on this 604.20, so I made a line there too, because it can come into play a little bit. But mainly the low and the high of the day I'll try to mark. So today's signal was pretty easy for me. It wasn't super cut and dry, but once we cleared it in pre-market, but we held at it. So I was happy getting in here because we were over my level. Now it was a little risky because we could have come under, but we opened up over VWAP and over my 9 EMA, and it was cooking. So let's go to the 10-minute and the 10-minute and the 15-minute. MACD also gave you good confirmation. Okay. So today's 605.50. I wanted it to 607. Josh called 608. Once we broke 607, I was happy to play that point from 607 to 608, and it was a good play. This was 2.5 point move today on options that paid good, so you could have caught any of that. Thank you, Giovanni. So that it was just a good level. I was comfortable with that level, even though now if you played the morning market structure like we teach you, you mark your first 3 5-minute candles, 1, 2, 3. Here's the high. Here's pretty much the low on the same exact number, 605.50. You could have just caught the body, but it lined up with that previous day, so I was happy leaving it there. Once you started breaking it, there was your play over 606, took you to 608. It was pretty cut and dry day today for that trend. Now you say, well, I want to hold for 609. Well, that's why I got that green line on there, the 9 EMA. So if it's holding the trend on the 5-minute chart on the 9 EMA, I can stay in the trade. Once it starts to break it, I probably early in the day here, I wanted to test VWAP. We got close. I probably would have held this. It was early and I was up. And then it continued to ride the 9 EMA. So if you took 2 contracts, you get out of one here at 607. You see what it does. If it's going to hold the 9 on the 5-minute chart. And whether the 15 and the 10 MACD are helping you point up. It kind of gives you confirmation, What if it starts running? Do you wait for a pullback to VWAP? That's a great question and a super hard one to try to answer. So let me think about this. Okay. So at a certain point, you start feeling like you missed the play. I get it. I've been there. And I get there all the time still. Truth is, you never touched VWAP again. What's up, Anthony? So, if you, let's say, we're on the 5-minute. We're looking at the first of the day, and let's say you miss this signal. Okay. and you watch it run to 607. Well, the way I play is you go check your higher time frames. Let's go to the 10 and the 15 and see what the MACD is pointing at. And in this case, it was still pointing up. It was starting to round. It didn't start rounding until up in here. It was still pointing upwards. And even more confirmation should have been the 1 hour. Yeah. So then you would start flipping to your higher time confirmations and saying, which way is this MACD giving me? Which way is it pointing? Well, early in the morning, you got a direct pump up on the 1 hour. So it gives you a little confidence to get in. And the best re-entry on this was when we started touching the 9 right here, 606.50 area. It came back and touched it again. It tried to come back and break it. You could have got out. You could have got kicked out right here. And then when you reclaimed the 9, and let's say you cleared 607, that would have been entry. You didn't get a retest of VWAP. So if you wait for that, you don't get in the play. And that's okay sometimes too. Sometimes you miss it. Is there ever a time that you add to your position, or do you always enter heavy and then sell off slowly? I'm sorry, guys. Let's see here. Let's go to Crazy here. Crazy K. Is there ever a time I add to my position? Yeah, sometimes. So like, if I would have just took 2 contracts here, and I felt confident going to 608, which I felt pretty confident with it, because you didn't have a lot of structure right in here to get through, in my opinion. So what I would have done was waited to start breaking 607, and then you could have added a couple more contracts once you started here off of an even number. You don't want to get in the middle of a number on an option like 606.80 or something like, unless you're already in. Okay. Yeah, I would wait to have cleared. I would have waited to clear 607. And then there are times too, like let's say it could have been a stronger day, even though this was a decent day, and you did get a test of VWAP, and you got a red candle that wicked up hard. You could take risk there. If you're going to take a risk, you're going to take it on one of the EMAs or VWAP, depending on your risk tolerance. If you're just starting out, just try playing 2 contracts and letting one runner go with, taking profits and on your way up. I'd rather sell into strength instead of waiting on a big die hard pullback and then missing some of my move, missing the profit. I like selling into it. I don't want to wait for 608. That's why I told everybody else earlier I was signaling if you were still holding calls, I would be cutting between 607.80 and 608. That way you're right at the top. I was pretty confident we were, if we would have got to 608 and started clearing hardcore, okay, I would have bought it. But I went to the 1 hour and I saw this RSI and it got overcooked. So it was it was screaming for a slowdown and a pullback, just a little pullback. So now, if we look back here, we could come back here and test. 605.50 is pretty decent support now. Even 606, 605.50. So we may come back and retest this. Now on the daily, we pulled back. I was showing you that on the past several videos. We hit the top 2 times, and then we had a pretty good pullback. Now, 65 on the RSI, we can push back to 70 and above a little bit. So I'm looking to start making newer highs once we push over 608 pretty heavy. That'd be my go long. That would be my go long number right now. Clearing 608. I'd almost I think we're going that way because look at, you can't see it as good on Webull, but on this MACD, we just came down. It looks like we're bouncing, and the RSI is already pointing back up on the daily. So I would look for us to come back to 70 again on the daily, and maybe bust through it. We had to get some more gas to move higher. That's what we did. Okay. Jay said, what do you do for a stop loss when you initially enter? Because on choppy days like the last 2 days, I end up losing money. Then the market reverses, and if I never had a stop, I would have done well. Okay, Jay. On today, today wasn't too choppy, I didn't think. There was, on smaller time frames, there's always hesitation. And when you get confident in a level or how you're going to play with your strategy, on your entries is all the difference on an option. Because you could be looking at being 15% up and then going to being 10% down on one candle, if you get a bad entry. So if you're confident in the move that it's pointing up, you want to start taking your entries on these lines, like on VWAP or on the EMA, not at the top of the candle. And it's hard to do, man. Don't beat yourself up. You have to have the option pulled up, watching it, and the chart on another screen. I make my orders on my phone. That's usually what I got. So you got to be watching both, and it ain't easy to do. But when you see the price coming down, like right here, you saying, okay, I'm confident we're going on up. I don't want to enter up here and then have to wait for it to get all the way back up here again. When you started pulling back here, if I was going to add, say I was going to add 2 contracts, I would have added one on this 9 EMA and one on VWAP if I got it. Well, I added one here, and then I would have waited to clear the next level, which was 607. Just an even number, 607 was my next level. Or if we were approaching like the high of the day before or something, I would have wanted to start clearing that level to make another entry or to add a contract. I hope that helps, man. It's and stop losses are so hard to say. Oh, we'll set it at 10%. Set it. It all it depends on the strike, how fast it's moving, the volatility. I don't want to hold nothing over 25%. It ain't gonna go with me. You know, I got a bad entry, or if I'm gonna average down, if I saying, well, I'm gonna add 5 contracts, I'd be adding one at a time. As if the level's coming down towards VWAP or towards your EMA, and then adding as you get closer, just in case you don't get all the way, like today we didn't get all the way to VWAP. Well, you could have added. Let's go to a 10-minute. You know, you could have added. Could have added right in here on a 10-minute candle. Is that right? Yeah. Closer to your lines are the better entries at the bottoms of the candles. If you're going up, top of the candles, if you're going down. It's hard to catch, man. And then you set your stop. I set it immediately. If it's like $1 contract, I'll set it at 80 cents to start with to give myself a little bit of playroom. All that's on your risk tolerance, though. Know what you're risking. If I'm risking $20 on this contract, then when $20 is gone, it's gone. If I'm risking 20, I want to be aiming to make 40 per contract. Okay. So let's see if we got any more questions, man. What's up, Vincent? I can't. Friday, I've got a Christmas dinner party for my company, and then I've got a meeting in the morning, so I can't. Next 2 days are out for me. What up? Tila Parker, what's that pattern you have drawn on the chart? This little flag pattern up here. This flag pattern symbolizes price is compressing tighter. When you start getting closer to the point, it's going to break out one way or the other. So once it starts, if you're wanting to scalp and you find this flag pattern, you can scalp this once it starts breaking out of it one way or the other. I hope that makes sense to you. They can be on larger time frames, shorter time frames. But I just drew that at the end of the day, messing around, and I saw that. So I could have scalped this candle. If I would have got 607.75, could have got close to a half a point on this candle. If you pressed them down to the 2 minute, like end of day, you're expecting a quick move. If you're playing the 2 minutes, like go to a shorter time frame, you see how it squeezes in between here and then wedges out. And if it would have wedged up this way, it would have continued up, if it breaks on the top or breaks on the bottom. This right here would have gave me a 2 minute candle out of it. I could have caught this could have got 2 candles. A little bit of, you can trade on Webull, you can trade the SPY up till 4:15 Eastern time. So you get 15 extra minutes on the SPY and the QQQs, and there's probably others too, but it gives you an extra 15 minutes on your options. Just saying, if you don't know that. Hopefully that helps you, and I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Tiala, it's a pretty name. What's up, Pats? My man, Jay, that is really good. Jay, you're very welcome. Yeah, Vincent, I wanted a little flush at the end, but it didn't want it didn't want to give up. I tried. I scalped one like 8% or something. It wasn't worth it. But I was about to add on pull back to VWAP, but I never got it. Yeah, man. It's heartbreaking to watch it run, and then think, I get in, I'm chasing. Well, let's say you're doing that. You go to let's go to a 5 minute. Well, actually, if I were doing that and I wanted to get in, I'd go to a lower time frame. And what I would do is I'd say, okay, I want to get in. I ain't 100%, but I want to get in. So I'm gonna make me a mark at the last high. Let's say just on this run right here, this little consolidation, and it got this pullback. Well, you could have entered. You enter on the break of new highs, and you got this consolidation right through here, and it stayed on top of this structure. So you can always make yourself a line to say, okay, I'm waiting on new highs to be made. Or if you would have, like I got my line here at 607, because it consolidated here and it kind of made see all this flat top that it was pretty close to 607 right in there. Even this little pattern here on the 2 minute. Once it started making new highs, it gives you the opportunity on this first candle to get in. Hope that helps. Pull back due to the RSI being so high. How do you know to ignore it? You're welcome, Tilla. Crazy Case says all morning I was waiting on pullback due to the RSI being so high. How do you know to ignore it? You got to go to the higher time frame. And yeah, it did. It got up there 11:30. I knew it was cooking. So then I wanted to go to an even higher time frame and say, hey, on the daily, this has got a ways. You could have played out another day or two, but on the 4 hour, this 4 hour gave you a good look at 1:30. Yeah, right at the top, right when it pivoted. That was the time to get out. Okay. All right, guys. The last few days, great info. Hey, thanks, John. Thank you so much. Do you think I should get out with 50% loss of time? I mean, it's 12 Mastermind. Mastermind, why don't you tag me in the Discord, brother, and give me the strike price and expiration date and how much you're down. You can tag me or just send me a message and I'll see it. Okay. Thank you, Durga. So tomorrow, sorry, I'd stay on here all night and talk, man. I wish we could get audio both ways from everybody, but I tried it in the Discord and it limits the amount of people and nobody mutes their microphones. Oh, thank you, Jay. John, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you made some off my call today. That makes me feel good, dude. Makes me feel great. So I'm trying to be patient and wait on 608 to clear. That might not be tomorrow. I could see us. We got a little bit right here. 606.50. Looks like that's where it stopped today too. After hours. This could be some support. And we got to get back above 607 for sure. But in the days coming, really need to have 608 on your radar and 609. Those are the next things to break, guys. And you can see Look, 608. All this right here. we gotta get above this crap right here, and there's not much up here at 609. Once we start clearing, we're gonna start moving up. So keep 608 and 609 on your radar, and of course that number I gave you today, 605.50. That's kind of my support right now, and then 604.20. So we can start getting to that level, and it starts, sometimes you can catch bounces off those. I would suspect we could pull back to here because this is also the high of that day. We could pull back to 605.50 and bounce and start moving on up. Okay? I don't put conditions on my orders. I do market orders only on the SPY. There's literally no spread on the contract, like the buy and the ask. So I don't want a penny to knock me out of getting in a trade, is what I'm saying. So I always use just a regular stop loss and a regular market order on the SPY and like the Qs. Other tickers like Nvidia or Tesla, stuff like that, you probably want to use a limit order unless the spread is really tight on the bid and the ask. Then you do market, but don't buy stuff like Lilly and things like that, because those spreads, if you do a market order, you're going to be down, way down instantly. 8 cents out of the money. Let's see if I can. January 3rd expiration on SPY on a call. $3 day in this option. Is it a 608 SM? 608 or 545? I don't know, man. I'm not a big swing trader. If you're swinging them, try to buy close to in the money, a little closer. You don't want to go way out of the money. I'm not good with the Greeks. I won't lie to you. So you can view these on a chart on Webull. It's not a lot of volume on them yet, but I don't know, man. I mean, it all depends on price action of the SPY. I would, if it's a 608, you're still holding. I mean, I would probably continue to hold it. You got January 3rd. You got time on it. I would probably hold it. Anything under 604, I'd probably start cutting it. That means we could get technically we could get a double top here. This is the neckline, and then we're making the next top, and we round it down to come back down. We'd break the neckline, come to 600 and maybe lower towards 598. I think that's what Josh had too. So I hope that's not the case. I still like the daily RSI pointing upwards. And I think if we go to Trading View, let's see this MACD on Trading View. It came just under, but stayed flat. So we might probably be popping back up on this, in my opinion. You know, and it didn't. You know, there's some sellers up here. It wicked a little bit. Pretty strong candle though. I think we're pushing up into this channel. If you see this channel that I got, that's the daily. There's more room up. Okay. I'm looking for new highs in the coming days. 609's got to clear though. So be patient. Victor Trump. So Trump's hitting the opening bell. Oh, it could rally it. Thanks, Pats. 625. You're down 43 cents. My bad. 620. 625 call. Oh. January 3rd, 625. Yeah, man. It's probably too far out of the money, SM. You don't need to go that far out of the money on swings like that. You know, I guess longer swings you can a little bit, but I'm not confident on those type of plays. The most I'll swing's like a week or two out. I don't. Some people. Wolf might know more about it. I think he swings. Wolf of Gatsby. He does swings a lot, so you could tag him and ask him. You know, I think 2 or greater can start the trend of a channel. Pats, correct me if I'm wrong, but this one you can see is narrowing. So it's kind of wedging through here. That's on the daily. If you go to the 4 hour, you probably get more points of contact. A little bit. Because it's giving you pre-markets and after hours. I think that's pretty close. All right, guys, that's it for me tonight. I'm going to have to hop off. How far back? I don't know, man. Because, channels create. This one is. Really, this could come on back to this one, too. So. August 1st. That's August 1st. So, yeah, like you could have took this dip right here. You're right. November, September was getting real close to this. So you could have, yeah. So yeah, if we did get a pullback close into this range, you could play this channel for sure. It's been pretty solid. No problem, Asim. Happy to help. Okay. All right, guys, I got to roll. Got to get up early. All right. Thanks a bunch. I'll list my levels in the mornings like I always do. And, you can be patient and just wait for 608, 609 to clear. And if it's clearing and the RSI on a higher time frame is pointing upwards, it's a good indication we're moving up, guys. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys in the Discord. We'll see you in the morning. Thanks. Appreciate it. Don't forget, guys, if you want to support me, my referral link is in the comments. So I don't get paid anything. if you cancel your subscription and use mine to subscribe, it gives me a little percentage. So no pressure. If you don't give me a dime, that's fine too. I'm always happy to help. I appreciate you guys big time. Have a good one.